you can do less in 1 year than you can in 4.
Right.
So we wanted it to be more of a continuation of the story, kind of expanding on it, as opposed to telling a brand new story from the beginning. And you know, we hope to, you know, continue it even further.
I'm sorry, what the fuck did you just say? Okay, so Ed Boon sat down for this interview where he sat down and basically just talked about the future of Mortal Kombat. Now, I saw a little bit, not of this video, but somebody talking about it. It was like the first 30 seconds, and once I realized what it was in like pertaining to, I kind of just clicked off the video because I wanted to like react to this myself and just like give my own opinion and thoughts on like, you know, where the future of Mortal Kombat is heading. For Mortal Kombat 1 at least. Because obviously another Mortal Kombat game it probably ain't coming out for another 5 or 6 years. Which, you know, it is what it is. But anyways, so we're gonna jump into this. I'm not gonna waste too much time. I appreciate everybody that's been commenting, liking, and just like subbing to the channel. Because like obviously I'm a smaller channel, but I'm trying to like, you know, trying to do my best at covering these videos and just like giving you guys my honest take and opinion on things. And you know, just do the best I can as like someone who's new to the space. But yeah, like we're gonna jump into this. I would appreciate anyone that liked and comment or even subscribe to the channel. So without further ado, let's jump into it and see what Ed Boon was talking about and what we can expect in Mortal Kombat 1.
Can you tell us a little bit about how Chaos Raids came about?
You know, starting with about Mortal Kombat X or 9, we started doing like a second part where we add characters, add features and whatnot, and that kind of became our pattern, right? You know, with Mortal Kombat 11, we had Mortal Kombat 11, Aftermath, and then Ultimate, right? So we would keep adding characters, add story.
Okay, one thing. Can these people have gone over there somewhere? Like, you're dead on with this interview, and this guy's trying to conduct the interview, and these people are like talking mad loud behind him. Like, that's kind of annoying, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Oh well, it's what it is. Like, you know, if you know someone's like conducting an interview where people are gonna want to watch and listen to what they're saying, having these people talk so loud in the background is kind of like irritating. I'm sorry, it's like a pet peeve of mine. Like, I don't like when I'm talking and someone's talking louder right behind me. You know what I mean? Like, if that makes sense. That's the mean thing, though.
So that's kind of like the way we're doing our games now, right? And that's so we were pretty sure when we launched Mortal Kombat 1 that we were going to be doing years of content. And so this is year 2, right? It is the you know, 1 year ago we announced Mortal Kombat 1 here at Comic-Con. We were in that same room, this same room, talking, and fast forward a year now, we're announcing part 2, 6 new characters, new story, animalities, you know, all the expansion that we've done with the game.
How difficult is it to work with the new licensed characters? Is the IP protective of how they die or how they fight?
They're not as protective of how they die. They're protective of how they kill, for sure. And they're usually the experience we have is they're excited to see their character in Mortal Kombat because, you know, we've had so many, you know, Terminator, RoboCop, Spawn, Freddy Krueger, you know, just a long list. It's almost like a badge of honor of, like, you know, we put them in and they're like, oh, we're popular, we're a pop culture thing, and so for the most part they're usually very good. You know, a couple of times to say, you know, the pose that in the character, you know, in this flyer image, you know, lift his hand up a little higher, we do it, and that's the extent.
So, how did you come to choose Heavy as the main villain of the expansion?
That's a good question.
Your father knows about saving money. Everything I'm wearing, I've had since boot camp.
Part they're usually very good.
I didn't hear what the question was, so let me hear it. Let me go back a little bit.
You know, a couple of times to say, you know, the pose that in the character, you know, in this flyer image, you know, lift his hand up a little higher, we do it, and that's the extent.
So, how did you come to choose Heavy as the main villain of the expansion?
That's a good question.
This is a good question, and if you read the comics of MKS, you would realize that Havoc actually makes a pretty good villain, like honestly, and like just the fact that he just wants pure chaos and doesn't want any, like he has no real plan of what he wants to do. He just wants the world to be in chaos, which I think is interesting, especially when you choose like a villain type. So let's see. I just want to hear what Ed Boon has to say about it, though.
Come to choose Havoc as the main villain of the expansion.
That's a good question. I think something about the whole chaos thing, you know, just the unpredictability of it. You know, it allows us to make characters that were like in his universe. You're going to see some really strange versions of the Mortal Kombat characters in like chaos versions of them. So I think that was a big part. We knew we didn't want to like repeat Shang Tsung. We didn't want to do Shao Kahn again. We didn't, you know, because so Havoc seemed like a new feeling kind of character. So.
Yeah, I guess one question is like, know that you're technically the longest standing voice actor for a video game ever, as you provide the vocal samples for Scorpion in each game, and that Noob Saibot, who is going to be a part of Chaos Reigns, is kind of yours and John's namesake. Are there any other Easter eggs that are a part of the expansion?
Yes, there's a big one that we're just not announcing. You know, and like when we did the first Mortal Kombat game, we put a character in Reptile, and we never told anyone. We just put it in there, and then actually I didn't even tell the people I was working with, you know, that it was in there. And the idea was, let's make it really rare, make it feel like a rumor, but it's actually there. And we want to do something like that again. So that's the extent I probably want to go. But
So there's a possibility of a new character showing up in this era, or maybe it's an old character. I would imagine if he's comparing it to the Reptile thing, that it would be a new character, just because like back then Reptile wasn't a character until he actually appeared a game later. So that's interesting. Like I'm interested in that. That's pretty fire.
It feel like a rumor, but it's actually there. And we want to do something like that again. So that's the extent I probably want to go. But you'll definitely start hearing about it, and you'll think back to today and go, oh, that's what he was talking about.
So when you work on the stories for expansions, are they more like smaller, self-contained stories you want to tell, as opposed to, you know, like the longer campaign of a real game, or do you try to present a concept?
Yeah, there's a number of things that influence that. For instance, Mortal Kombat 1, from beginning to end, was like 4 years. It was quite a bit of time from Mortal Kombat 11. It's like 2019 to 2023. So Chaos Reigns is a year later. We you know, you can do less in 1 year than you can in 4. Right. So we wanted it to be more of a continuation of the story, kind of expanding on it, as opposed to telling a brand new story from the beginning. And you know, we hope to, you know, continue it even further.
I'm sorry, what the fuck did you just say?
Expanding on it, as opposed to telling a brand new story from the beginning. And you know, we hope to, you know, continue it even further.
Continue it even further. So, hold fuck up. So it's not just Chaos Reigns.
Wanted it to be more of a continuation of the story, kind of expanding on it, as opposed to telling a brand new story from the beginning. And you know, we hope to, you know, continue it even further.
I see what he doing, bro. He wants to continue with the story. So obviously, this is not the end all be all for the story DLC. There's going to be more. Okay.
And I think you just went in with this right now, but Mortal Kombat itself is maybe at least 30 years, if not more, been around for quite a while.
32 years. It was 1992, yeah.
How do you continually keep that fresh as time passes? How does that work for you in your mind? What
Our team is in the hundreds, right? And our studio, we have team members who weren't even born when the first Mortal Kombat came out, right? And then other ones who are, so we have like 3 generations of people, and so when you have ideas coming in from people in their 20s, people in their 30s, people in their 40s, you get a lot of fresh ideas. You don't just.
Hey man, listen here, bro. Put me on the team, Boon. Like, I tell a better story, bro. Cause like whoever's in charge of these backstories is like blowing mine, bro. These backstories like are stupid. Like not to go back on the tangent about Takeda, but Takeda's new story is bullshit. That's all I'm gonna say there. Like there are better ways to tell these stories, and like I feel like MK1's main story was a step down from MK11's story. So in certain parts, not all of it, but in certain parts it was down. Cause like I felt like MK11 was a lot more of an emotional roller coaster in itself. When Sonya died, when Hanzo died, bro, I was so mad. But I know we had a younger version of Hanzo, so it wasn't that bad for me. But having Hanzo die like that to Devora, freaking Devora of all people, like that was stupid. And Scorpion is a race; he's not a human, so like he could come back. He's done it in the comics, so it doesn't make sense why he never came back from dying from Devora during the final fight. But I just think that maybe it wasn't enough time for him to come back. Maybe that's what it is. But it is what it is. Like, hopefully these stories are good. I hope they knock it out of the park with this DLC story. Because if they do that, then it definitely leaves a window open for them to do more stories and expand on more type of lore. And like I want them to get further in the story to bring back other characters like Hotaru or Kira. Like there's so many Serena. There's so many characters and stories you could tell. Like.
40s, you get a lot of fresh ideas. You don't just get one generation's perspective. You get 2 or 3, and I think that has a lot to do with like the new features that we add coming in. Because if they all came from me, it would be pretty boring.
What is your favorite animal?
We're not done with them yet. Currently, I like that pufferfish one where
yeah, makes sense. It's a regular one.
Yeah.
T-Mobile savings, take 1. Guys, focus. Here's the line. At T-Mobile, you get tons.
Can we expect to see all the blood and gore that we've seen in the previous iterations in Chaos Reigns?
Yes, for sure. Yeah. That's a signature part of Mortal Kombat at this point. I think we'd have some pretty upset fans if we dialed that down.
So as the way technology has advanced, are there parts of stories that you wanted to tell in the past, but you just couldn't quite translate that to a video game that you can do now?
Yeah, that's Mortal Kombat 9, which came out in 2011, we basically retold the Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3 story because we were able to. And back in '92, we didn't have full motion video and actors and motion capture and all that stuff there. So we always wanted to retell that story. And but again, we've been telling that story for like 30 years. We really felt it was time to let's reboot it. Bring back characters, but bring them back in different origin stories and different ways that they're back. Scorpion and Sub-Zero are brothers now. Before they were just kind of rival clans, and so it's those little twists to the story that keep things interesting. Mm-hmm. That's our strategy, I guess.
Getting a little more in the weeds, I believe that Mortal Kombat 1 runs on Unreal Engine 4, if that's correct. But do you guys see kind of iterations of Unreal Engine 5 coming out and get excited about any particular features?
Yeah, our next game will definitely be Unreal 5 or 6, wherever they're at.
Yeah.
Catch up. But we're definitely always looking into the latest to kind of keep up with the industry.
So when you do that kind of reboot of the story for something that's been around for so long, you've obviously have a fan base. Did their reaction feed into how you rebooted the characters, the story, or did you just like, we're going to do it this way because this is original?
I think if we kept telling the same story again and again, it would start getting a little bit dull, and you know, a lot of our you know, people, they have an idea of what Mortal Kombat is in their head, and when you change it, you know, there's pushback.
Of course.
But at the same time, I don't think it's a coincidence that we're 30-something years later, and we're still, you know, as big as Miracle was. So I think we're doing something right with regards to that. I really feel that players need something. We need a reboot occasionally, just to keep things fresh.
You mentioned.
See, let's talk about that for a second. Now, obviously, he's right. Reboot was necessary because, like, you're just gonna tell the exact same story from. Okay, so Mortal Kombat 9 started that was the first initial reboot, right? It was like a soft reboot, if you will, that told the general story between 1 and 3. Now, obviously, they were gonna tell exactly the same exact story from the original timeline, so they had to like mix things up a bit, which led into MKS, right? Well, MKS and going forward, there was like its own taste. There was no need to like really remap that timeline because like you had all the Earth Realm and Outworld Warriors die, so it was already deviated from the original timeline. So I mean, I get what he's trying to say here, but at the same time, like I felt like in terms of the story, like with Chronica being introduced, it kind of like forced them to go this route into another reboot because like, you know, with all the characters dying, like how are they going to bring the favorite characters back like Smoke and like Nightwolf? That would have made sense. So yeah, they had to go this route. Unfortunately, like when they introduced the Time Lord and stuff like that, that kind of happens. But you know, it is what it is. Like I get his point, and of course there's gonna be pushback from the fans because like you mess with fan favorite characters. Scorpion, your favorite character you mess with, like that's why like I can't get on Ed Boon too hard because like he even allowed his favorite character to be changed. Like, and that's saying something, bro. Because Scorpion's like one of my favorite characters. I have Scorpion on my arm, like the original Scorpion. So you know, I'm a big fan of Hanzo. So like, I obviously I was pissed, but you know, I get where he's coming from, trying to keep things fresh, especially when it's a game that's been around for 32 years.
Something we need a reboot occasionally, just to keep things fresh.
You mentioned that with Mortal Kombat 1, you want to bring like all the favorite characters with different twists and turns in them.
Yeah.
So, how do you decide which twists and turns to put in with each fighter, especially with Cyrex and Sector?
Good question.
Like, why those changes?
It's constant conversations with the story team. You know, what should we do with it? What would be interesting? What would people not expect? You know, we you know, I don't think a year ago people would have expected that we would change Sector and Cyrax to be female, and you know, we're changing Noob's story, and we're doing all of these things. It's basically just newness, novelty, what's fresh, and it just makes the game more interesting. Like, what are they going to do next with it?
You're at time.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Really wish they would have asked some questions about Sonya and Jade, just to like get his opinion on like what made you not put Sonya in the game or something like that, or Jade. That's it.
My name is Darren Tomas.
That's the video. Okay, so obviously there were some good questions asked there. Ed Boon hinted that they're gonna do more than one story DLC, which I think is awesome in itself. So that's one great piece of content we got out of this, just watching this video. Like honestly, like yeah, obviously they're planning to make more stories, and like as long as Mortal Kombat 1 is like, I feel makes a decent amount of money, they'll keep doing these stories. Obviously, like they said that also the next game's gonna be on Unreal Engine 5 or 6. More likely it's gonna be 5, maybe like 5.5 or something like that. Who knows? It depends on how long it takes for them to make the next Mortal Kombat game. Hopefully things go better. Like I hope they go back to like a regular Mortal Kombat 1v1 game once the next game comes out. Because like obviously the assist thing's cool, but I think this should just be a novelty for this particular game, and just leave it at that. But yeah, that's just my opinion on it. But you know, everyone's allowed to just like have it their own way. But anyways, this is actually a really good video. Yeah, definitely give these people a like, because we got some good intel on you know, their plan after Mortal Kombat. So probably the next Mortal Kombat combat pack, there's going to be another story DLC coming out, and with them keeping the story kind of short, like 5 chapters is nothing. Like I feel like you go through that in like one night. So they're probably gonna add more stuff to this DLC because 6 characters, maybe a new game mode or something. Who knows? But anyways, like this is cool, bro. So I was just about to like start editing this video, and then I saw another discussion with Boon pop up on Gamespot. So we're gonna check this one out real quick and just see what they're talking about here. If it's similar to what we just heard.
Bunch of characters that people are going to freak out about.
Yeah.
No. First with the Mortal Kombat ones.
Oop.
So I want to talk about the new DLC. Seemingly, it's a bunch of characters that people are going to freak out about.
Yeah.
First with the Mortal Kombat ones, it's Cyrax, Sector, and Noob Saibot.
That's right.
Which they look like very cool new designs.
Yeah, and that was the idea. We have this kind of balance we're trying to do with this game, is like bring characters back that players want to see, but also don't just repeat the same things with them. So we give them new origins, new looks. You know, Sector and Cyrax are now female, and so they're, you know, really dramatic changes from before, but they have the kind of signature moves that players are kind of looking for.
And then on the IP side, you guys have the T-1000.
That's right.
Conan the Barbarian, and Ghostface.
And Ghostface, yeah.
I don't know of a common thing that links all 3 of them, except they're all awesome.
Yeah, it's funny, just coincidentally, our previous ones, we would have like a pack of characters that were like all from horror movies. And
right.
then in MK11, it was all from like action movies, RoboCop, Terminator, you know, and these are just kind of like a compilation of all 3 of those, you know, action movies, horror movies, adventure movies, and so they're pretty random, but they're very cool. 3 very cool characters we're very excited about.
I think what's so exciting is like, so I go back to the beginning of this franchise playing Mortal Kombat in the donut shop around the corner from my house growing up, just pumping quarters into it, and then us going and getting chocolate milk to power us through it.
You know, to me, like, one of my favorite things about hearing people talk about Mortal Kombat is they have a very distinct story to tell of when they first saw it, what part of their life they were in, and all the details, like you said, going to get chocolate milk. And I've heard 100 of them, and each time it's just as novel for me, just somebody painting a...
So for me, what was my earliest memory of when I first started playing Mortal Kombat was like probably with my dad. Like we played it was like the was it the Sega? I think it might have been, was it on Sega? Anyways, it was like a home version. And then like I played Mortal Kombat in the arcade too. But like my first thing was when we were home playing the game. So that's what I remember. Like yeah. And then I remember blowing into the cartridges to freaking play the game on Super Nintendo. Yeah. Maybe like I think it was Sega. Dude, it's just been so long.
Picture of when they saw Mortal Kombat.
Well, and now we're here we are 3 decades later, and it's still like the standard bearer of these fighting games.
Yeah.
What, in your mind, what is it that keeps it to that point in everyone's mind where this is...
I don't know about that one for this game. I feel like the mountain's been shaken up a little bit. It should be that top tier game, but it's not right now. But we'll see in the future if it becomes that, like, you know, with this DLC coming out, hopefully it's really good and these characters play really, really well, and it gets people excited for the game again. Because like right now it's not that. Like we saw it during the evil numbers, like probably one of the lower games pros were going to compete for. So, you know, it sucks that it is the way it is right now, but hopefully in the future it changes.
This is the gold standard for what we want.
I do feel that we always want to kind of introduce something that players haven't done in a Mortal Kombat game, right? Like if you
if you go back to Mortal Kombat like X, we had, let's do 3 variations of each character, right? So, I haven't seen that before, and it kind of like, that's the mechanic. Mortal Kombat 11 kind of let you do a custom one, and Mortal Kombat 1 is these cameo fighters that come out and kind of help you. And so I think that's a big part of it. Some of it is also, it struck some people at a point in their life where they just have great memories, and it was part of it. I think it's kind of like when you hear a song that reminds you of something. And so we've managed to come back with new games that have added something really cool to it, and it just kind of strikes something with players' nostalgic memories of Mortal Kombat.
Okay, that's true, because there's like one particular era of Mortal Kombat that I feel like that pocket is for me. As much as I love Mortal Kombat 1, 2, 3, Trilogy, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, for me, it was Deadly Alliance. Deadly Alliance was like my favorite Mortal Kombat game. They made Scorpion into like the Elder Gods champion to go and set everything right, and his ending and stuff, like, it was really cool the way they did things for Deadly Alliance. Or was that Deception when he was the Elder Gods champion? It's so long since I played that game, but I remember coming home from school playing Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, and just like with my brothers, that's all we played was Deadly Alliance. And Scorpion, like my favorite one, that one fatality he had, bro, where he just like does this like little dance move where he just throws the spears and he just yanks the guy's head off. Like, that's probably one of my favorite Scorpion fatalities ever. And Kung Lao and Deadly Alliance is fire too. I love Kung Lao.
Something with players' nostalgic memories of Mortal Kombat. So we have a nice kind of rhythm going with that.
There is one specific character that you guys added in somewhat recently named Homelander. Amazing, perfect character for a Mortal Kombat game. But he has this taunt that when he wins with milk that has gone a little bit very popular, a little viral on the internet.
Yeah.
When you see something like that pop up,
that's so creepy,
to the point where it becomes a thing with people, like, what is your reaction to something like that?
Well, I had the same, that's gross reaction when the guys in the team who wanted to do it, so we went back and forth. We said, no, it's too iconic for him, we have to do it. And I was like, are you sure? You have to be in on the joke. Because if you just see it and you go, oh, he's drinking milk in a weird way, but then if you see the show, you kind of like, yikes.
The context will really take you for a ride.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so we know basically what the next year roadmap looks like for this game in terms of the characters we're getting. Beyond that, what excites you about what you can still bring to Mortal Kombat moving forward?
That's a really good question.
In my opinion, this content is not a year's worth of content. I said it in my a video earlier, where I don't think this could be technically a year worth of content. Because think about it, like, okay, so we got September. September is when this DLC is dropping, correct? 3 characters are dropping with this DLC. So what's left is there's 3 more characters left in this DLC pack. How is this a year worth of content? It's not. So the only way that they're gonna add something else in between that gap. If this is gonna be their year of content till the next Combat Pack 3, they're going to have to add something else in, because if you're dropping all 3 characters at the same time, that's like 6 months. That's like what? Depending on like if they with them taking delays and stuff like that. Like, cause like every season there's a new character that drops, right? Within like a month and a half. But with them dropping 3 characters, that takes out like almost like 4 or 5, maybe 6 months worth of like content they could be building up towards. So now you only have Terminator, you have Conan, and you have Ghostface. So in my opinion, I don't think that's a year worth of content unless they're adding cameos throughout the year that are outside the Combat Pact, which I think is probably what they're going to end up doing anyways. But I don't know. I don't think this is a year worth of content, and just by analyzing what they're doing with this. But maybe they add maps and stuff like that to like sprinkle throughout the year, and that'll be like what gets people there. That's my opinion, though. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but just thinking about it from like a logical point of view, like it's not really a year worth of content.
That's a really good question. The fact that everybody's coming along for us on this ride and it's 30 years in is, you know, there's a certain amount of, you know, we can't let people down. We got to keep this going. To me, Mortal Kombat feels like it's getting closer to like a forever franchise, you know, like it's like Marvel, it's like DC, it's like, you know, Star Wars or whatever like that, where even if we took a break for 5 years or something like that, there would be somebody saying, hey, is there going to be another Mortal Kombat game? Is there going to be another Marvel?
No, you can't take no 5-year break. What are you talking about? Like, what is that? What is 5-year break? I don't know what that means, bro. Not doing this again, bro. You took a long enough break between Armageddon and freaking Mortal Kombat 9. Don't chill out, bro. Don't say shit like that, Boon. You making me sensitive right now. Like, no, people wouldn't just be like, hey, no. They'll be at your door knocking on your window. Hello, when's the next Mortal Kombat game? Let's go. Like, no one is going to be patient for that shit, bro.
Going to be another Mortal Kombat game. Is there going to be another?
Just look at the Melina fans. Like, come on, bro. Jade fans, there's no way.
Other Marvel movies. Is there going to be another DC movie and stuff? And so I do feel like it has that kind of long-lasting appeal. But, you know, the games keep doing well, so we're always excited to give players like what they're looking for.
Okay, so yeah, so with both interviews, what did we learn? That second interview wasn't as impactful for me. I think they're just pretty much talking about like what content they had in the past, like, you know, Homelander and stuff like that. And I don't know, bro. Like, in my personal opinion, I think that, you know, this is not a year worth of content. This DLC. Maybe if they had like just dropped one character with the combat pack, like that could be, then it could be like kind of close to a year. But I don't think this is a year worth of content, just because like there's only 3 characters after this combat pack released in September. So I got October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. You got what, another like almost, yeah, you got a whole like 12 months. Like, how is 3 characters gonna last for 12 months? Like, I don't know how that exactly works. But because, like, you know, the game had initially released in, it was September, right? I think it was September. So if we're going by that state of flow, that's not gonna be a year worth of content. There's no way. So I think they're gonna sprinkle in cameos throughout the year to kind of like make up for that effect and just kind of stretch. Are they gonna stretch the characters? I don't think they'll stretch the characters out, to be honest. Like, I think they'll probably drop the characters maybe a month, maybe a month and a half to 2 months in between each other. But even if they do that, what's it got? 2 months? 2 months to like 2, 4, 6. That's half the year. So then what are you gonna do with the rest of the half of the year? I don't know. Like, it's gonna be weird to try how they're gonna stretch. Once they, I hope that they have like a roadmap of when they're gonna drop everything. After the Chaos Reigns. I hope they do that sooner than later, but for now, like, I don't think this is a year worth of content. I think that, like, you know, it's it's good for a couple months at max, like, you know, maybe like 3 or 4 months like worth of content, depending on like how they drop it. No, max probably 6 months worth of content. But anyways, guys, both of the interviews were pretty dope. Like, GameSpot did a great job with this interview, and so did the other channel. I forget off the top of my head, what is it? Okay, I have to go back and check it out later. But yeah, these guys did a great job with interview, and the questions was awesome. You know, this one was a lot easier to understand because like there wasn't a bunch of noise in the background. But anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. I just kind of wanted to check out all these interviews and see, like, you know, what was being said. I'm out. Peace.